Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's Governance and Transparency Committee meeting. All committee members are in attendance. We'll start with the acknowledgement of country. Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land upon which we meet. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging as the keepers of the traditions, cultures and stories of a proud people. Do any committee members have a declaration of interest to make this morning? No declaration of interest? Okay, we have no business outstanding. I'll go to the confirmation of minutes. Do any committee members want to move that? Councillor Milligan, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Any discussion from the committee this morning on those minutes? There being no discussion, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour? That's unanimous and carried. Our first officer's report today is the Quarter 3 Operational Plan 2021-2022 Quarterly Performance. Do any committee members have questions on this one? Mayor Harding? I'll call on the relevant officer that we have present.
I'll take any questions, Chair.
Thank you, CEO.
Through the Chair, CEO, I've got my old project management hat on. If there's no red dots, are we over-resourced or is the reporting great? So the reports look really great. There's the only things I can see red marks on are at-risk projects. I guess iVolve, and looking at theme 4 is deliverables, as well as provide opportunities for elected representatives to interact with community members as well. Are we able to provide an update on iVolve or how that's tracking? I know it's gone into the needs attention, but it has had those red at-risk indicators in the past.
Thank you for the question, Mayor Harding, through the Chair. So as the report indicates there have been some impacts due to the resource availability, and specifically that's been our subject matter experts, because the key work through this last quarter has really focused on the development of our high-level business requirements for the new enterprise platform. Notwithstanding that, at present, if I move to where we're at currently, we are in very much the vast majority of the functional requirements having been documented in order to move forward, and they're presently just receiving the approval process through the GMs, and that's in train. I am expecting that the next quarter we will see that we will have had to have recalibrated the timeframes for delivery of our system. It's obviously a critical project, as has been highlighted, and you're very much aware as a committee. It's important, obviously, though, that we do get it right, learn the lessons, and don't make bad moves in terms of delivery of such an important, sort of future-proofing platform for this organisation. So we have a key system in Oracle that we presently deliver our financial and procurement services through, and that's a system that has been in place for many years now, and there are certainly some risks that we're treating there. We have a report that's due next week that we're all very much looking forward to, that will give us some key information on the next steps moving forward. So I do expect that we will have to come back to committee and brief council, and we'll arrange a briefing of council's strategic advisor to come and brief the full council on where we're at once we have that information and have been able to make a considered and careful assessment of the timeframe moving forward and what is the best path for this organisation.
If I may, through the Chair, so it's been downgraded from at-risk to needs attention. What has happened in particular for that downgrading? I shouldn't say downgrade, but a reduced risk.
It would have been probably a point in time assessment. To be honest, Mayor Harding, I might have to ask some further questions about that to better understand. I think these reports are prepared at a point in time, and it is a bit fast moving. These risks around Oracle and the data have really emerged, I think, in the past month. So I might have to ask some more questions about that, Mayor Harding.
I'm happy with that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Sonia. Ms Cooper, do any members of the committee want to move this report this morning? Councillor Doyle, seconded by Councillor Milligan. Any discussion from the floor this morning?
If I think, Chair, it's good to see progress on the report, on the operational works.
All right, that being all the discussion this morning, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour of the recommendation? That's unanimous and carried. Our next report is quarterly reports to the Department of State Development, Infrastructure, Local Government and Planning. The recommendation is to endorse the draft letter and quarterly performance reports. Do any members of the committee have questions on this matter? There being no questions, I'll seek a mover from the floor. Moved by Councillor Doyle and seconded by Councillor Milligan. Any discussion on this matter this morning, Mayor?
I just want to highlight attachment 1 from the department, asking council in our next report to provide some information on why changes made to the media policy. I just wish to highlight that particular attachment.
Thank you, Mayor. Any further discussion this morning? There being no further discussion, I'll put the recommendation to the vote. Those in favour? That's unanimous and carried. Our next item today is the appointment of Urban Utilities Board Member. Some questions probably could go towards being in closed session, but I'll wait to see if anyone on the floor has anything of that nature. Do any committee members have questions on this item? All right. Would anybody like to move recommendation A and B? Mayor Harding, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Any discussion from the floor this morning?
I think, Chair, just it's great to see someone from Ipswich being on the Urban Utilities Board. And someone of I think, great experience, and someone who's, if you see their CV, will be a real asset to our city, but also to Urban Utilities. So it's a real step forward for Urban Utilities.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I concur with the Mayor's comments. It's great to see someone with a legal and governance background on that board, you know, flying the flag for Ipswich and looking out for our interests. So I'm really, really confident in this appointee in doing that for us.
Thank you, Mayor and Councillor Doyle. I certainly agree. I'm pretty red hot that there should be an Ipswich person on that board. Urban Utilities has the ability to affect our capital program quite significantly, and I'd like to see them be very proactive in areas where their minority shareholders operate. It's not just about Brisbane. Certainly as a parochial young Ipswich man, I will never take a backward step to somebody from Brisbane. On that note, I'll put the matter to the vote. Those in favour? That's unanimous and carried. Our last item today is a procurement matter, the supply and delivery of 6 waste collection / compaction trucks. Do any members of the committee have questions on that matter? Mayor Harding? Would the questions pertain to procurement or waste services?
We'll speak to Mr McAllister more on the waste and the capabilities of the trucks.
Good morning all. David McAllister, Resource Recovery Manager.
Mr McAllister, through the chair. You'll have to correct me. I think we issue about over 100 new bins every single week because of our growing city. How do we know that these 6 side load waste collection compaction trucks will actually meet the needs of our growing city?
So, as I think we discussed a couple other times before, there's a stage procurement process going on here. We've purchased 18 initially, and then there was another 4 that have been directed towards the Somerset contract, and now another 6, which will actually take us to, my maths has gone out of my brain, 28 sidearm trucks at the moment when these are all on board. And for comparison, we have 24 at this point in time. So that's a net increase straight away of 4. What we will be doing in the interim as these vehicles arrive is keeping the best of the old fleet so that we actually maximise the number of vehicles we've got on the ground at any point in time. And then there is still a follow-on purchase to go of more. There'll probably be several more sidearms as we move into the organic conversation, and then reloads and front load vehicles to finish off the fleet renewal at this point in time.
Mr McAllister, you noted there that it could take up to 15 months for delivery. Is that realistic? And how are you going to manage waste collection for the next 15 months? I know we've hired some extra trucks,
Yes.
but yes.
So we have 2 hire vehicles, 2 sidearm hire vehicles. We have a new front lift vehicle and a hired rear lift vehicle at the moment in the fleet. One of the vehicles that had a fire has now returned back to service, and the other one we're waiting on the wiring loom to come from Penske, so that should arrive shortly. The first of these new Volvos, not from this 6 but from the original purchase, is in country at the moment. It is having its conversion to right-hand drive right now, and it's about to head up to Superior Pack to get its body built. That will be online, we're hopeful late June, but more likely mid-July. And then basically from there, 1 or 2 vehicles per month or 2 will come into the fleet. So as I said before, we've hired in to bring ourselves up to a quota. As the new ones come in, we'll be keeping the old ones and to keep a threshold number. So in essence, yes, 15 months is a long time, and we're very aware of that pressure on the fleet. But as they start to roll in, each additional vehicle will provide that backup, and we will keep the ones we have. We really want to operate around that 28 to 32 sidearms as a consistent fleet size to keep us deal with the growth. And that will just keep increasing year upon year as the number of services continue to grow.
So, Mr McAllister, are you confident that you'll be able to maintain services for our residents with what's been
More
put forward?
confident today than I probably would have been 6 months ago, to be honest. As you know, hiring the vehicles has helped. Some of the ones that were damaged coming back into fleet have helped. We have got over a bit of a hurdle of some significant maintenance issues over the previous few months. So yes, basically as we come into winter time, there is a reduction in service demand as the volumes of materials reduce and people's organic loads reduce, which gives us a bit of time for these new vehicles to start entering. And once the 4 vehicles come for Somerset, the 2 that are in existence out there will come back into our fleet. So we're in a lot better position at this point in time than we were 12 months, 6 months ago.
Thank you, Mr McAllister. Thank you, Chair.
Any further questions from the floor this morning? Thank you, Mr McAllister. With the matter being a procurement matter, recommendations A through D should be moved together. Any members of the committee willing to move that? Mayor Harding, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Any discussion this morning?
I think for my Chair, it's just good to see Council proactively manage our growing number of residents and the growing needs for how we manage waste, and also noting the fact that we've had to look at, with the FOGO trials as well, how we manage that as well. So it's a real, it's good to be on the front foot.
Thank you, Mayor. Any further discussion this morning? There being no further discussion, I'll put recommendations A through D to the vote. Those in favour? That's unanimous and carried. That was our last item for this morning's meeting. I'll call the meeting to a close at 9:43, and the next meeting will start at 9:53.